let's dive into the new definition of knowledge in the age of AI. In any system, when one component changes significantly, the entire system is affected. The emergence of artificial intelligence has undoubtedly triggered such a change, most visibly in the job market, but increasingly in everyday life as well. Education cannot remain unaffected, even if it currently lacks sufficient systemic support to address this transformation. One of the most fundamental shifts, in my view, is the redefinition of knowledge itself. While I do not necessarily agree with every direction in which the world is heading, we cannot ignore these changes. Our responsibility as educators is to prepare students to navigate this evolving landscape, not resist it. Knowledge in the 21st century looks very different from what it was in the past. First, knowledge is now widely accessible. Thanks to digital technologies and AI, information that was once locked behind institutions or paywalls can often be accessed instantly and at very low cost. Second, knowledge has become non-binary. It is no longer simply about what is true or false. Instead, it often involves nuance, probability, and context. AI-generated knowledge, for example, reflects uncertainty and multiple perspectives rather than absolute answers. Third, knowledge is increasingly decentralized. It is no longer controlled exclusively by traditional power structures such as universities, governments, or major publishers. Instead, it is distributed across networks, communities, and digital platforms. This shift means that today's learners and educators must not only access knowledge but also critically evaluate, interpret, and navigate it in new ways. Modern knowledge is defined not just by what we know, but by how we use it. First, it is problem-solving oriented. Knowledge today is valued when it can be applied directly to real-world challenges, providing practical solutions rather than abstract information. Second, it is market-sensitive. Knowledge responds to economic and social demands, constantly adapting to what society and industries need. Third, it is selective and analytical. With such a flood of information available, the critical skill is not memorizing everything but evaluating, filtering, and analyzing data with accuracy and depth. And finally, knowledge is digitally integrated. It is deeply connected to digital literacy, requiring people to navigate information across platforms, frameworks, and interdisciplinary contexts. In short, modern knowledge is interdisciplinary, ethical, and global in its orientation, focused on application, evaluation, and integration in a connected world. In the past, knowledge was often defined by depth, mastering a narrow field and knowing as much as possible about a very specific area. Today, however, we are moving toward breadth. What matters is broad foundational knowledge across many domains, the ability to recognize patterns and relationships between disciplines, and the skill to apply ideas in new contexts. This shift values diversity, synthesis, and contextual thinking over encyclopedic recall. Instead of memorizing endless details, learners must connect ideas, integrate perspectives, and adapt knowledge to solve interdisciplinary problems. This redefined concept of knowledge challenges us to think less about isolated expertise and more about navigating complexity with flexibility and creativity. To work effectively with AI, knowledge needs to expand beyond traditional academic areas. First, prompt engineering is essential. This is the ability to communicate effectively with AI systems, knowing how to design questions, structure instructions, and guide outputs to achieve meaningful results. Second, human-AI interaction is becoming a new literacy. Users must understand the basic principles of digital communication with AI, including its strengths, weaknesses, and the limits of what these systems can provide. Finally, linguistics knowledge plays a crucial role. Insights from translation studies and linguistics help us better understand how large language models process meaning and how we can adapt our use of language to get accurate and relevant outcomes. These components together form the foundation of AI literacy, enabling individuals not just to use AI, but to use it wisely and responsibly. In the 21st century, knowledge requires more than just access to information, it requires awareness. First, we need to recognize multiple perspectives. Every piece of information can be interpreted in different ways, and learners must develop the ability to see issues from various angles. Second, we must build strong information literacy. This means being able to identify, access, and critically evaluate new sources of information in an environment where misinformation and overload are constant challenges. Finally, knowledge has a dynamic nature. It is not fixed, but ever-changing, expanding, and shaped by the context in which it is used. So modern awareness is not just about knowing, but about navigating complexity with flexibility, critical judgment, and openness to change. Ultimately, this redefined concept of knowledge creates the empowered knowledge worker. Such individuals are not limited to memorizing facts or mastering a single discipline. Instead, they can interpret and integrate diverse viewpoints, approaching complex challenges from a holistic, globally informed perspective. Most importantly, they are able to ask the right questions. The empowered knowledge worker understands what they do not know and can identify the gaps that need clarification. This ability to question effectively is often more valuable than simply having the answers. This modern vision of knowledge prepares students not only for today's problems, but also for an uncertain future, one that demands adaptability, flexibility, and the integration of insights from multiple fields. In short, the empowered knowledge worker is someone who can connect ideas, generate innovative solutions, and thrive in environments of rapid change.